Is it time to trade in your Porsche 911 Cabrio? Read our first drive to find out. Inevitable, yes, but still exciting. The 2026 Aston Martin Vantage Roadster arrives in the US in the second quarter of 2025 to join the significantly refreshed and revised Vantage Coupe that was one of last year's highlight cars in terms of its performance, dynamics, style, and sophistication. The new Vantage Roadster continues a tradition for open-top Astons that dates back 75 years to the launch of the DB2 drophead coupe in 1950. The 2026 Vantage Roadster marks another step in Aston Martin Executive Chairman Lawrence Stroll's ambitious plan to reinvent the storied British sports car manufacturer. Stroll wants to take Aston Martin further upmarket, away from the likes of Porsche and Mercedes-AMG, and into what the automaker's head of global marketing and communications, Renato Bisignani, calls the white space between ultra-luxury brands like Rolls-Royce and ultra-performance brands like Ferrari. Though its mechanical hardware is identical, right down to the 656 horsepower, 590 lb-ft twin-turbo 4.0-liter V8 under the hood, multi-link suspension, massive brakes, and Michelin Pilot Sport 5S tires on 21-inch wheels, the Vantage Roadster is not simply a Vantage coupe with the roof removed. Aston Martin says the Roadster was designed and engineered in parallel with the coupe to minimize the compromises that are a normal part of a convertible, such as higher weight, less performance, and softer dynamics. Weighing just 132 pounds more than the coupe, the Vantage Roadster boasts the same 202 miles per hour top speed and is a mere 0.1 seconds slower to 60 miles per hour from a standing start, stopping the clock at 3.5 seconds. We'll wait until we get behind the wheel to confirm whether the Roadster is as dynamically accomplished on the road as the stunningly impressive coupe. That said, the track record of Aston Martin's Director of Vehicle Performance, Simon Newton, who's overseen the development of the DB12, the new Vanquish, and revised DBX, suggests it should be. We were able to retain the outrageous dynamic capabilities and agile sporting character of Vantage with no compromise upon removal of the roof, Newton says. As in the coupe, the Vantage Roadster's version of the versatile AMG-designed V8 makes its 656 horsepower from 6,000 RPM to 6,500 RPM, with the 590 lb-ft on tap from 2,750 RPM to 6,000 RPM, courtesy of new cylinder heads, new camshafts, bigger turbochargers, and a new exhaust system. The hefty increases in both power and torque compared with previous Vantage power plant, 30% and 18%, respectively, both begin to take effect from 2,000 RPM, which contributes to a 40% increase in throttle response in performance driving. Compared with the old Vantage Roadster, the front crossmember has been moved rearward to increase the stiffness at the mounting points of the front control arms, and a lighter, stiffer cross brace has been fitted to connect the front shock towers. Bracing between the rear shock towers has increased the stiffness of the rear suspension mounting points, and new shear plates under the chassis have increased the body's overall torsional rigidity. Additional shear panels have been added in strategic locations to laterally stiffen the structure, even more than the coupe, to offset the reduction in rigidity inherent in any convertible. The stiff structure allows precise tuning of the Vantage Roadster's suspension, says Simon Newton. The Bilstein DTX adaptive shocks fitted to the Vantage Roadster have 5 times the tuning range of the shocks used on the outgoing model. The software controlling the rear shocks has been recalibrated to account for the slightly increased mass of the Roadster. The front-to-rear weight distribution is 49:51 versus the perfect 50:50 of the coupe, and the mountings for the transaxle 8-speed automatic transmission are retuned. The Roadster's Z-fold soft top stows neatly behind the seats without the need for a separate cover, which saves weight and lowers the center of gravity, and takes just 6.8 seconds to raise or lower at speeds up to 31 miles per hour. The roof can also be raised or lowered remotely via the key if you're standing within 7 feet of the car, and has no fewer than 8 levels of insulation, ensuring that cabin sound levels with the roof up are comparable to those of Vantage Coupe. The rollover protection system is made of lightweight cast and extruded aluminum structures. The Vantage Roadster retains the coiled muscle and menace of the redesigned coupe. thanks to front and rear fenders that are pumped out 1.2-inch to cover a wider track, and a minimized gap between the fenders and the standard 21-inch wheels make the car look even lower and wider. The longer hood runs down towards a grille opening that's 38% larger to improve cooling and is flanked by vertical vents that create air curtains around the front wheels to improve aerodynamic efficiency and visually pull the front corners of the car outwards, further emphasizing the width. At the rear is a new diffuser, flanked by bazooka-caliber dual exhausts. As in the coupe, the new Vantage Roadster's redesigned interior is a step change over that of the outgoing car, the architecture highlighting Aston's talent for creating expressive color and trim and material combinations. The horizontal vent graphic across the dash emphasizes the width of the cabin, and the 10.25-inch digital instrument panel is housed in a dramatically styled binnacle. Aston says the instrument panel screen has about the same resolution as the latest generation of iPhone screens. The gearshift paddles are now attached to a new 3-spoke sports steering wheel with touch-capacitive switches in the spokes. At the center of the dash is the 10.25-inch touchscreen now used across the redesigned Aston range. It has the same resolution and ultra-black display technology as the instrument panel and is fast-reacting and intuitive to use. Below it is the new center console that hosts beautifully executed physical controls for functions such as gear selection, air conditioning temperature and fan speed, audio system volume, and the start button, which is surrounded by the rotary drive mode selector. As with all Aston Martins, Vantage Roadster buyers can explore endless bespoke and customization possibilities via the Q by Aston Martin personalization service. And it's not just color and trim. The Q designers and craftspeople can engineer and produce entirely bespoke components to create a true one-off. If it drives like the coupe, the $205,900 Vantage Roadster promises to be a genuine alternative to Porsche's $210,000 911 Turbo Cabriolet. Yes, a sport chrono-equipped 911 Turbo Cabriolet is 0.7 seconds quicker to 60 miles per hour than the Aston, though the British car is 3 miles per hour faster at the top end. But the fast, well-equipped, and good-looking Vantage Roadster comes with a thundering V8 soundtrack. And it will turn more heads simply because it's not a 911. For the latest tech news and reviews, follow Simmyideas Tech Hub on X, Facebook, WhatsApp, Threads, and Google News. For the latest videos on gadgets and tech, subscribe to our YouTube channel.